God, then he wouldn't have won because he would have been doing it himself. I don't remember who said it a while ago, but we can't. They were talking about like what I've said before is you can't boast in yourself. You have to boast in Jesus. Amen. If you boast in yourself, you're boasting in nothing. That's right. You're nothing. Our righteousness is as filthy rags, but with Jesus, we're a spotless lamb.
Amen. That's right. It's good.
Now I want to hit on the second topic, which is pray up. We must pray up. Jesus just didn't get crucified without praying before he did the most important thing in history, which is to die for our sins. Yes. We watched it in school, in American history. We watched a film, and I thought it was just awesome. It was when the teacher was gone, and he just, had us to do something just to pass time, when we pay attention. And he had the sub play a documentary on what these historians thought was the very most important historical moment of all of mankind, of all time. And every one of them said Jesus. And I just thought that was cool because most historians and most scientists ain't even saved, y'all. And they thought it was the best thing, and it was the best thing that could have happened to us. If Jesus can change the world, and we're supposed to be like Him, we should be able to change the world too.
That's right.
Amen.
That's
right.
Amen. Should be
World
changing
changers.
our world, yeah, we should.
Who was it that? Paul and Silas, they got accused of turning the world upside down. Who was that?
That was the
Disciples.
Paul was part of it.
Right. But we must pray. Jesus prayed in the garden until his sweat turned into blood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about y'all, but to me that's some pretty hardcore praying for your sweat.
That's right.
Here's the first thing. For you to be praying so hard that you're sweating, that's some pretty hardcore praying, right? Okay? But when your sweat turns into blood,
there you go.
That's some crazy hardcore praying. You know what I'm saying? That's Pentecostal praying for sure. But see, we got to pray. We can't just take this thing passively. We got to follow
That's
the
right.
that God has laid out
Amen.
for us. Because when we say, God, send me, I'll go. It's I don't know why I'm gonna say this, but I'm gonna say it. It's kind of like mail. You send out something. If you don't send it out with the postal stamp or whatever,
That's good.
If you don't send it without that, then it's not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If you send yourself out in the
That's
back,
good, son.
into something God's called you to do
right.
without the Jesus stamp, then you ain't going to get nowhere.
Amen.
It says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17, it says, pray without ceasing. In 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 8, it says, I will therefore that men pray everywhere, lifting up holy hands without wrath and doubting. The third thing I want to preach about is gear up. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 40, it says, and he took his staff, this is talking about David again, and it says, and he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag, which he had even in a scrip. And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. I believe personally, if David if he wouldn't have done the exact thing that God wanted him to do, the step-by-step thing, then it probably wouldn't have worked out for him. What I'm saying is, if he just picked just a regular stone that was right there beside his feet when God told him to do it, I don't think he would have been very successful, to be honest. Because he didn't follow the steps.
That's right.
Here's an example for you, for if y'all ain't getting what I'm saying. In the Old Testament, when the high priest did the sacrifices, they had step by 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 step guidelines that they had to go by. If they missed one of those many steps, then the sacrifice would have meant nothing.
That's right.
It would have been worth nothing. It wouldn't have done anything for the people.
Right.
It wouldn't have done nothing. So why do we think if God tells us to do something and we skip a step, then it's going to work out.
Oh,
My, help us, Lord.
It's good.
good preaching.
If man, ooh. if God's telling us to do something, people, and we skip a step, if God tells us, like I said a while ago, God told, this is not literal, but God told Gabe to go to Pine Bluff and start a church in the ghetto, right? Okay, if he just would have went to Pine Bluff and started it in the good part, then that wouldn't have been going by God. And it wouldn't have worked out the way that God planned it to be. And to be out of God's will is one of the worst things that you can do.
That's right. It's terrible.
That's a fact.
Amen.
Yes.
We can vouch for that. Okay.
Been there.
David didn't go into battle without some form of weaponry. He brought to battle what God told him to bring. So we automatically know that David listened to God because he did exactly what he was told to do by God.
Amen.
The fourth point I want to state is move up. We got to make a move. God will never force us to do something, even if it's for Him and His kingdom. He never forced Jesus Christ into dying for our sins, because Jesus even came to the point where He said, if I can't quote scripture like a lot of preachers can, but he more or less said, He said, look, if this about the cup, let it pass from me, or whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't quote scripture. But he even contemplated it,
Yes,
because he was human.
Right.
Jesus was perfect, but he had to go through struggles to be perfect.
That's right. That's right.
Said it was easy for Jesus just because he was holy. Well, to be able to obtain holiness, you have to go through stuff.
That's right. That's good.
In order to be holy, you have to go through stuff and rely on Jesus Christ. When you say, send me, I'll go, you're not going to be prosperous at the end unless you go by those steps, because there won't be a good end for you.
Right.
That's right.
And if there is, there's going to be that hole that's incomplete in that plot that God laid out, and you're going to have to take that piece of the puzzle and put it in there. If you make a puzzle and you're missing a piece, well, just one piece, and it looks pretty good, right? Okay, it looks pretty good, but you put that one piece in there, it's whole, right? It's beautiful when you do that. It's the same thing in our Christian walk, in our Christian
Amen.
life. If we miss that one step, just one step, it may look real close to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But if you put every
help
piece
us, Lord.
into that puzzle, then it's going to look exactly what it's supposed to be.
Hallelujah. That's good. That's good.
Wow.
We must move when the time is right. If David wouldn't have prepared to face the giant and follow the steps God set out before him, he would have probably been killed by the giant alive.
Yes.
So just move. Jonah is a prime example of not saying, send me, I'll go. I'm sure we have all heard the story, but I'm going to tell y'all anyways. Even VeggieTales came out with it, so I'm sure everybody's heard Jonah and Webby. Here it is. God told Jonah to go to Nineveh, and he refused, and he fled to Tarshish. He got swallowed up by a whale, asked God to deliver him out of the belly of the whale, and the whale spewed him out, and he ran more or less to where God told him to go.
Yeah.
The problem with Jonah wasn't that he was unsaved,
Right.
but that he didn't want to listen up.
There you go.
He didn't want to gear up. He didn't want to move up, and
Uh-huh.
sure enough, didn't want to pray up because he
Glory.
didn't want to hear God's voice at the time.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Jonah realized what he had done. God had to send a whale to get his attention. God may have to send something crazy up your way to get your attention.
Help us.
And you may be following those steps. I'm going to kind of drift off from my notes a little bit, but you may be going by those steps, and you may be like Job. Job was perfect in the eyes of God. Not literally, but it says in the Word of God.
It does.
And he was so great. I believe he was the greatest man in the whole Bible besides Jesus. I believe that's my personal opinion. You can disagree if you want to. You have a right to. But I think he is, because even through all those hard times when he lost everything, people think that they go through stuff that's rough now because their dog got shot, because
Because they lost their boots.
Yeah, because they lost their boots. You know, German Shepherd took their boots. That's behind their. Yeah. Anyways, that's my story, guys. I'll tell you after church. But we think that we go through those hard times because someone's aggravated at us at work, or the teacher gave us a C instead of a B, or because we forgot the cheese to our bologna sandwich and we're upset because a bologna sandwich ain't going to taste right. You know, we think we have it rough now. Well, he had everything taken away from him.
Right.
He was starving. He had no wealth. He had no shelter. He was sick.
That's right.
We all are going to go through things, but if we just act like Job and act like Jesus, we'll turn out good at the end.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
When we say, send me, I'll go, you got to mean it. It can't just be a passive thing. It can't be like, okay, God, you told me to do this. Bye. It's got to be, okay, God, here's my hand. Guide me.
Amen.
Yes.
That's right. Yes.
Guide me.
Yes.
Show me where to go. And I'll go there. It may be in the ghetto in Pine Bluff. It may be in a foreign country. It may be in my schools talking to students that I never thought I could talk to before. It may be the scariest thing you could ever imagine. Your health being gone. You lose your house, your children, your money, your wealth. Right. Whatever you may lose that God takes you through, just hold on to Jesus and He will bring you through.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
God didn't force Jonah to go, but He really wanted him to. God, Jesus, will not force you to do something you don't want to do. But here's an example for you. Trying to get you to understand how Jesus works sometimes, how He's worked in me. He may not worked on you like this. But if you have a little brother or sister, or you know, when you're a kid, you'll kind of understand what I'm saying. All right? Your little brother wants to play outside, but you want to stay inside in the cool, right? Okay. You want to stay inside in the cool, but your little brother wants you to come outside. He'll go try to tell Daddy, hey, Daddy, make Bubby come outside with me. And he's not going to make it happen. And I'm not saying Jesus does that with His Father, but y'all get what I'm saying, I hope. But Jesus is going to stay knocking at that door. He will knock at that door and He'll say, come on, I'm telling you what to do. Just come do it with me. And you'll say, I don't want to. Jesus will be like, all right, we'll come back in a few more days.
Yeah, He does. Don't give up.
Come on, do this with me.
Amen.
Jesus don't give up on you. He may be pestering you until you can't take it no more. People have said it in movies before. You know, you can run, but you can't hide. Well, you can hide from man, but you can't ever hide from Jesus.
That's right.
When Jesus is knocking at your door, constantly, it kind of hurts my knuckles. When He's knocking at your heart's door, trying to tell you to do something, He's going to tell you. But once you tell Him, I don't want to do it, He'll leave. But He will come back later and ask if you'll let Him do it. And He'll never force you into it, but He'll ask you a lot. He will. And you may not like it, but it's in His will for you to do it. So you might as well do it.
Amen. Amen.
Musicians will come.